or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Michaela and this is Evergreen Inks. Today I wanted to give you a full walkthrough of my pocket rings planner and kind of explain maybe why I'm back in pocket when I was so settled and happy in A6. I did record this about 2 weeks ago. And I didn't think I did a good enough job explaining my system. It's the exact same system, plus a few like tiny tweaks as my A6, but I really did want to go through my planner as if you were experiencing my system for the first time. And I didn't feel like I did that as well as I may have wanted to. So I thought I'd redo it. And also some things have changed since even 2 weeks ago. So I thought like might as well just re-record it. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. I'm gonna give you kind of like an explanation for why I switched before we do a pocket flip. So I got this cover in January of 24. It is now April of 24. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for my A6, really. One of the big reasons that I was still in A6 was because I loved my cover so much. And so when Gillio came out with their Toscana leather, it's the same green. I now have a pocket in my color. And for those of you who just follow me on YouTube, I was in pocket before I was in A6. So my ring journey really started in pocket rings. And I still like loved it. The reason I moved out of pocket rings was because I didn't have a cover that I really loved all aspects of, and because I didn't have enough page space to journal. So those were my two big issues, and A6 checked both of those boxes. And that's why I stayed in it for 6-ish months. So when I got this in, I set it up as a wallet with like a calendar and some dated weeklies for on-the-go things and high-level on-the-go reference information. And then just because I could, I set it up with its 20mm rings. And I was like, maybe I can set it up like my A6s, but maybe minus the daily pages because I don't have a day on 2-page pocket that I really like. And I was like, that works. It's too small, but that works. And then I ended up getting some more responsibilities at work and about mid-February, and that kind of was like the final push towards pocket. The new responsibilities that I have require me to be out of the office and out of my house more often, on site with the like not construction site. I work with generators, like an electricity generators. And I didn't want to lug my planner, like my A6 planner there. My pocket fits in my purse with everything else that I want to keep on a daily basis, and my A6 does not. And I already had this pocket mostly set up, mostly because I just wanted to play. The rings were just too small. So I kind of panicked when these new responsibilities were given to me. And I looked at my A6 and I was like, this thing is just too big. There's too much space. It's too complicated. It's got too much ring space. There's too many inserts. I would open the daily page and I would go, who gave me this much space to fill in a given day? Like, who gave me this responsibility? And I kind of got that fear, and I don't remember the name of it, where you go outside and just like, it's too open. You look up at the sky and you're like desperately afraid because there's nothing between you and the universe. I don't have that fear, but I imagine that's what it almost feels like when I looked at my daily pages. Like, I was like, this is so big. This is way too much space who am I kidding about filling this planner? Like, it's too big, it's too heavy, there's too much space. Like, this is ridiculous. And then I kind of was like, I want to take up less space. Like, I want just a tiny little planner with tiny little inserts, and I only want to be responsible for filling those in every day. Like, don't give me more responsibility than that. Which, like, you can tell how very much, like, getting new responsibilities at work, like, affected my mindset. It's not subtle. But that was kind of the reason that I was like, time to switch to Pocket. But I was so comfortable in A6, so I ended up setting up my monthly for the first week of March. I think it was like February, like March 1st and 2nd or something like that. And I set them both up, Pocket and A6. And by the time that I had set both up, I was like, I'm moving to Pocket, because my customs, as I'll show you, were made to fit Pocket. Like, when I first customized them with Vivara Peanuts Planner Co., like, we made them to fit Pocket and then sized them up to A6 when I moved to A6. So, like, you'll see the original design of this insert. And I was like, oh, this is familiar. Like, this is comfortable. I know exactly what to do with this size. I'm going back. And so all of March, I was in this planner, and I told myself, after March, you can decide to switch back if you want to. Like, just give it a month, give it a solid month. But April came around, and I set up April in this planner as well. So I think Pocket's going to stick around for a while, probably through spring, and I expect through summer. I change planners in February and August, generally. Like, maybe not of the same year, but when I switch, it's either going to be February or it's going to be August. So I would not be surprised if I go back to A6 in August, but I have all the stuff to do so. So I'm not worried about it either. But that's like a really short reason as to why I moved to Pocket. For those of you who are not aware, this is the Gillio Compagna Pocket XL in their new Toscana leather in the color green. I am still holding out hopes for an Apoca green cover. I'm still, like, looking every day. So, like, this is me putting out into the world, like, if you know of someone who is holding on to a Pocket XL Apoca green and they don't want it anymore, please send them my way, because that's, like, right now, that's my unicorn planner. Because I love the Apoca leather. Like, this is fine. Like, this is good. It's starting to shine up really nicely, but nothing beats that Apoca leather. So fingers crossed. I did switch these rings when I decided to move in to 25mm rings. So I do have 25mm rings, and the clasp closes. Through March, I really fluffed my daily pages out, and this clasp did not close for like the last 2 weeks of March. So that's a little bit of an issue, but I'm hoping not to chunk my daily pages up quite so much. And I also did some other slimming down of other things. So hopefully it will close all of April, but I'm not, again, fingers crossed, but I'm not expecting that one to be true. Gillio, like, I don't know if it's different with this new design, but the clasp is just so short. Okay, so getting right into it, I do have a second pen here. It's the Uniball Jetstream. I think this one's the Prime body. It's just a Uniball Jetstream, but with a fancy body. I really do like it. My Hobonichi 2024 one broke. So my husband was like, why not just buy yourself a nice one? Like, you know you like it. And it's probably cheaper than trying to find a, like, resold 2024 one. And so I did. In my pockets right now, I have my if found, please return card, just some of my info, and in case of emergency card, and then another emergency card with some other personal information on it, just in case like something were to happen. I have my Be Still and Know card, and then I have this ruler that I use to cut washi and draw lines. And then here are my routine cards. So I don't have a sticker for this one, but this one's my AM routines. I'm gonna find like a clear coffee cup or something to put there. This one's my PM routines, and then this one is going to be like weekly routines, I think, like weekly reset, like do these things to prep for the new week. I just haven't finished and gotten around to it. These are some gloomies from Meg Rhiannon. I cycle these out depending on like what I'm feeling. And right now, like I'm worried about leaving the house. So I have I've got 2 about leaving the house and 1 about worrying about when things don't work out the way that I planned. And I just keep those here to read them when I'm feeling stressed out. And then in this pocket, I have stamps. And then I also have my fold out from Plan with B with some of my plans on it. Today, I changed out my monthlies. I did have them on Tomoe River paper, and they were very decorative and very beautiful, but they were not functional. And I was finding that I wasn't using it, and I was focusing on only using this, and it was becoming an issue because this is too small for all of the plans that I was making. So I needed to make a change. So I went back to the Peanuts Planner Co. freebie. And yeah, all's right in the world. I haven't transferred my plans over, but it's working. Okay. This is supposed to be an like ideal day card, but I think I'm going to change it to something that someone on Instagram called like a red light day card. So what is the absolute bare minimum that you need to do in a day to be successful? And I'll just like write on with felt tip marker on here, I think. I think that's my plan. Behind it, I do have some die cut stickers that I usually keep here, but I wanted to keep the gloomies here, so I just have them back here for a layering effect. And this is just like a sticker that I got off Amazon in like a giant pack on like some acetate that I cut down. And then I have another one on the other side that has my weekly prayer plan. So I make sure, like on my daily pages, you'll see I write down these different topics to pray, and then every day I do a different subject for intercessory and petition prayers, and the 2 are related for every day of the week. It's just so I like remember to pray for other people besides myself. Like I think I mentioned this in my A6, but I'm really good about praying for the things about me that I want to remember. But intercessory are like making sure that you pray for other people in different areas of your life, and I think that's really important. So I wrote this down, and I reference this every day when I set up my daily. On the flyleaf, I just have my this freebie from Peanuts Planner Co. It's just the monthly calendar. Normally you can put it on a sticky note. I was just too lazy to. And then I have a picture of my husband and I on our wedding. This just changed. So this is my inbox / like sticky note thing. And like some of the sticky notes like to fall off, which is fine. But I just have like a ton of different sticky notes. Like all the sticky notes. Give me all the sticky notes. And then I have my first side tab. So I only have 4 side tabs in this planner because these are the Peanuts Planner Co. pocket dividers. They're super thin and super durable, and she can only fit 4, or decided to only fit 4 tabs on the side. So I only have 4 tabs, which is totally fine. 2024 year at a glance with 2025 year at a glance on the other side. I'm so this one's a freebie that I made, and I will have the link in the description below. Um, I will do my best to, I don't know, I don't like mentioning the shops that I get things because it kind of like breaks my flow. But I will happily answer any questions that you have of where something's from. I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm trying to keep my thoughts from going absolutely crazy. So, um, 2024 holidays. And then I have the first bottom tab down here, which is my monthly tab. Just I love hummingbirds, so I have hummingbird in here, and then I really loved the back of this, which is just like coffee and books and stuff. So yeah, this is the first divider, and I have more like sticky notes and page flags and stuff on it. This is for planning. So if I have an appointment that I'm scheduling, it just goes on down on here, and then I'll check it off when once it's put in my planner. I decided to basically simplify my monthly planner my monthly calendar a bunch. So only using like this pen on my monthlies. It is 3 different colors, so I have those 3 different colors labeled here. And then when I get home, I can like dot with my dot pens what subject it is, like near the front of it. And I don't have anything to show you what that'll look like at the moment because I literally just put these in on my lunch break at work, or not at work, but during work today. But this is the Peanuts Planner Co. freebie, and it's already dated, and I was really struggling to have the energy to date my monthlies, which is why I wasn't using them. So I decided to go back. Like, I really don't have the energy for my planner not to be functional. Winter is really taking a lot out of me. Work is really taking a lot out of me in terms of energy levels to have fun. In terms of like hobbies, like I have the energy to read, and I have the energy to check off trackers and after a work day, and that's basically it. Maybe throw down some stickers. So if I don't have the energy to keep this up neatly, like my monthlies need to be functional, I guess is like the long way of what I'm trying to say. So they're going to be functional. Like I'll put a couple stickers down at the beginning of a month in places where I won't need to put plans, but these monthlies just need to be pen only and fully functional. And that's just how it's going to go. Cross things off that are canceled and that kind of thing. Because it's pocket and I don't have a lot of room, I decided to add this half page in for monthly tasks and focus. My husband and I keep the same but separate in our planners running monthly task list of things we want to complete together in a month. We haven't sat down and had our like planning session for April, simply because like life has been really, really crazy with like the Easter holiday being the last weekend of March. So we're going to do that, but that's what would go here. And then on the back, we both want to be better about calling or sending cards to our extended families. So I figured I'd just keep a list of ones that we want to do. And then maybe eventually I'll make like a routine card for this. But for now, since it's so new, I'm just having like a physical to-do list. And then I have all the rest of the months. So another thing that I'm doing is if I have a task or something that needs to be scheduled during a time frame, I'm just putting it on one of these page flags with a felt tip pen and just throwing it on the week that it's supposed to go with. So like if it was plans, like let's say I knew the date of this doctor's appointment, like I'd put it in pen in the calendar. But since this is like I need to schedule this follow-up, like it'll go, like I need to schedule it this week or the week after, I'm just putting it here so that I can see it when I'm flipping to it and be like, oh yeah, you need to schedule that appointment if like such and such thing happens, that kind of thing. Or like this one is a task for a weekend and I don't really need to think about it until maybe like August, right? So it's for September, but I don't need to think about it until August. So it just goes there. And I kind of am following the color scheme that I'd given myself. So pink is health appointment. That blue one, it's not technically Grant and I, it's technically family, which is gray here, but like it's for a wedding and their wedding colors are blue. So I just like threw it on that blue one. Also, I don't think I have a gray one, so it just works. It's not a perfect system, but it is what it is. And then I have a few extra here for if I need them, because like I have a whole plastic thing of page flags of different colors, but I don't want to keep those with me all the time. So I just threw a couple on my divider. So yeah, that's my monthly for the most part, like nothing exciting, just a monthly calendar. I don't currently have a use for this side. I don't think I ever have. This is going to be, or is, my 2025 future log. This is the way Lindsey Scribbles does her future log, so not an original idea to me. But basically, if it was an event, it'd go here. I dot what day of the month it was, and then maybe put like, or what month it was, and then put the day of the month here. And that's just how I'm doing that. Next, I have my weekly section. And this is almost like I tried to copy this from my A6 as close as possible because this is one of my favorite and most useful sections of my planner. So like down to the, like the decoration, the dashboard in front of it, except, oh, I had a different gloomy, I think I had the desk here and I had the gloomy kid back in my notes section, and I switched them because I thought like desk for notes was better. And since I'm doing like tracker and health things here, the kid felt like a better place for it. So yes, again, this is Meg Rhiannon as well. I do find inspiration from Meg a lot. So, and I also like supporting her, so I generally buy her digitals. This is my key for brain days that has been transferred from planner to planner to planner. I think I made this for my standard TN back in like 2022, like end of 2022, and it just gets transferred with me. I don't use it. I don't log brain days on my habit log very often, but it just goes with me. This is a sticker from Fourth Wing. I have it on a tab that I cut to follow the die cut sticker line. And then I just have it here. I don't want to stick it down, but I want to have it. So, this is a notes page that I use in tandem with this. So basically, if I need to extrapolate on anything that I write here, it goes on this page, and then when I fill it up, I replace it with a new page. So basically what this is, this one thing, something that I did change, sorry, my brain is bouncing everywhere. Something that changed was that I use one sheet for a month. So I don't use like the insides of this for one month. I just use all of this. It helps me keep less in my planner at one time. And also it just like this is facing outward now. And it's like I'm looking at April when I look at it. It's not that I'd be looking at like a completed or incomplete March. It's better for me to completely like close out the month this way and just have everything all on one. So that did change. And so what I use this side for has changed almost as much as the number of months that I've been in this custom. So like it hasn't been 12 different things, but close. So this insert is a custom from Peanuts Planner Co. She does not currently have customs open, so you cannot order this, but I will link in the description below the fold out, the monthly fold out that I based this off of, and it is very close to what this is. I just moved some pieces around. So if you like this, you like the way that I use this, I believe it's 151 and the weekly is 103, but it's one of those two. It's either number 103 or number 151. And if you look at them, you'll know one says weekly and one says monthly. But those are what I based my customs off of. Okay, so back to what I originally was talking about, was how I'm using this. So it's gone through a bunch of iterations. I've tried meal planning on it. I think before that it was like a monthly spending log, which didn't work much in this size. And in January of 2024, when I was in A6, I started logging autism, not symptoms, but things that I noticed that overstimulated me that were related to autism. I screened via some of the online screening tests autistic at the end of 2023. And to kind of learn more about myself, I have decided to log different things here so that I can compare these days to like my normal habit tracker in true scientist fashion. So each of these dots mean something. Each of these dots means something. This means something. This Z that you can barely see means something. Like all of this means something, and the key I have is right here. Sorry, I do not know what I was saying. My husband came home, lovely, happy, wonderful, but did break my train of thought. This is my key for the things that I track. I'm calling it my autism log, which you can feel a certain way about that if you'd like. I track things like, do I have a migraine or a headache on a day? Am I in pain? Do I notice my overstimulation? Like, am I at a point where my brain is like fritzing out and I want to scream and I want to throw things? Am I noticing fever chills? Am I having a hard time stringing thoughts together? Did I interact with a special interest, which right now is basically like, am I playing in my planner? Am I doing stuff in my planner? And then these are things like, did I take Excedrin migraine? Did I take ibuprofen for my headache? Did I take melatonin? Because I'm realizing melatonin affects my brain fog. Like, I get brain fog so bad when I take melatonin, even like half of a normal dose. How much caffeine did I have? Did I log any of these things in my health log? Am I on my period? Did I rest on a day? Did I exercise? That kind of thing. And I have space to add more things as I go through. But as you can see, like it's really hard to fit a lot of these things. It was easier in A6 to fit a lot of things, so it's really hard in Pocket. So that's why I added this note page, because I want the room to be able to talk about the things that I'm logging. I just don't have the room to do so in Pocket. And then on the other side is just something that I want to remember about habits and routines. Like, they're a form of love to do them. Yeah. Here is gratitude. I try to, at the end of the day, remember to log something that was good, something that I'm grateful for, a prayer that was answered, something like just good that happened, like anything positive is something that I put here. And then on this side is my habit log, which is pretty much the same as it always has been. Cycle. So here's the brain day. I've been putting it here because that's just the way that I've always done. It's kind of habit, but I've started just with an asterisk noticing if I'm having like an anxious spiral. It's like a yes or no, like either you had an anxious spiral that day or you didn't. Generally I can like feel it, like it's like tingles down the back of my thighs is when I notice that I'm having a really bad anxiety day. And so I just like star it when I notice that. I do log my stress level out of 10 and my energy level out of 10, and I do log the hours that I sleep. If I wore makeup, goes down here on the same as my AM skin, like just to notice like, oh, on the days that I wear makeup, I do my AM skin routine. And the days that I don't do makeup, I more often to not do my AM skin routine. So it's just things to remember and think about and stuff like that. So that's my habit log. And then on this side are like goals or focuses for the month or big projects. These are more personal. Generally, they do come from like the topics that I discuss with my husband here. But sometimes they're like personal. Like I want to work on my writing habit. I want to write 30 minutes a day, that kind of thing. The no low spend is like something that I'm doing with my husband. And then my AM routine that's more personal. Our mornings have changed recently, and so I want to reestablish an AM routine because my day is hectic without one. And then here is where I'd probably like review. So basically, this is like the goal or the why I'm doing it. This is the mechanics of it, like for writing habit, 30 minutes a day, handwriting, maybe what time of day I'm shooting for, but here are some times of day that work. Here are some days that I'm going to rest, like Saturdays, you don't have to write, that kind of thing. For here, like the AM routine, like what specific does the AM routine look like? What time are you waking up? That kind of thing. And then I'd review it, like how I felt I did at the bottom. And that's this one insert. The next insert is my weekly. Again, like this is still the same. And I use this in the same way that I didn't change for this to be 1 week. This is 1 week, just like I did before. So here I just write down like the 3 focuses for the week, which I didn't get around to doing this week, but if I had to do it now on a Thursday, it would be finishing up my school packet, finish setting up my planner for April, and resting. That would be my focuses for the week. And actually, maybe I'll go fill those in after this. And then here is where I do my weekly review with my 4 questions. What went well? What didn't go well? What do I want to keep that I did this week? And what do I want to change for next week? Here are so I did change how I used this, and I forgot to mention that. I don't know if I mentioned that in my most recent A6 video, but I'm going to pretend that I didn't talk about it. So I moved where I put my routines and my habits. So previously, if you remember, I was listing them here in 3 columns: AM, PM, and intermittent. Like not every day, but multiple times a week. And I was getting really tired of rewriting them every single day, and I wasn't rewriting them every single day. And so like I couldn't tell if I did or didn't do them, even though some of them do make it onto this log as well. / I wasn't doing them because I like forgot to write them down and I didn't see them. So Lindsey Scribbles, and I'm very inspired by her as well. She is like one of the queens of the rolling weekly, and one of the things that she does is she puts her habits on the top of her rolling weekly task list. And I don't know why I didn't do it before. I know that I spouted the reason of being like, I like handwriting out my habits. It's more intentional that way. And I still agree with that, but I also don't have the energy to do it. So it's more of a, do I need to track it or do I need to be like intentional and write it down? And for me, tracking that I did do something is more important than like the time that it takes to write it down. So I decided to move it. And so what I've done is this dashed line separates the everyday tasks from the non-everyday tasks, and this line is habits, and then like the weekly task list. So yeah, that's that. And another thing that I did because I moved down to Pocket is I have less task space, because when Vivara and I were designing this insert for A6, I asked her to keep the grid size the same, because I like how small it is, and my handwriting is not that much bigger than this like 3 or 4 millimeter grid anyway. So in A6, I have so much more space for tasks. And as you can see, like I'm almost at my max for task list because of how many like habits and stuff I have, which is a good thing because I don't have a lot of energy in a given week. So like the stuff that I do have here is probably like the bare minimum, or actually the maximum that I'm able to do in a week. And if I run out of room, that means I've probably put too much stuff on my plate. But also at the same time, like for me, like this margin of error is too close, almost too close. Like it's good. If I put anything more in my habits, the margin of error would be like too small, if that makes sense. Like I am at my limit of safety, like my margin for error. So I don't want any more habits to go up here. But if you can see, like there are some things that are more than one habit. So I tried to condense a lot of my habits, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. If you can see, like coffee is half of an X and breakfast is the other half. These two things generally go in tandem. So crossing it off means I did two things. And as you can see, the past 2 days, and actually today as well, I haven't had breakfast. I've only drunk coffee. So it's a way to minimize the amount of space that I'm taking up, but also keeping the same amount of, or taking less grid space, but using the same amount of habits. Like that down here is exfoliate and acne serum. You're not supposed to do those on the same day because my acne serum has salicylic acid in it, and that's just not a good combination to have on the same day. So I can indicate if I did one or the other, right? Like, so you're supposed to do them on different days. So I would never come across an instance where these would be on the same day. So I can have them together on the same line. And also because they're both PM skin routine things, if that makes sense. Other than that, my tasks, I do the same way. I try to indicate the day that I want to get them done with a dot, and then the day I actually get them done with an X, and then I draw a line to indicate that I don't have to worry about that anymore. If I don't indicate that if I don't cross it out, it means like it's a multi-day thing. And if I move it, I'll put a little like chevron, like the forward arrow along this dark line right here. And that's just how that goes. This is my schedule. Again, I've had a very low energy this week, so I didn't draw out my high level meetings for work. I just put my after work events here to remind myself that I was doing those things. I didn't even get up the energy to write out what focus I wanted to do for home and cleaning on each of the days and what meals we were planning on doing. We're kind of living this week by the fly. We're kind of living every week by the fly, but I like to pretend that there's a little bit more control than there actually is. That's this side. And so on this side, I have decided to do high-level family memories. So things that Grant and I do together, or things that we do with other people. A lot of my dailies are like more personalized and more personal journaling, but for like memory keeping, this is what I want to do. And also it's fun to see what I did during a day or a week in comparison to like tasks or other things. And it's kind of just like good to have the context. I love context. And I try to fill these out like nightly, but if I don't fill it out nightly, I try to do it at the end of a week if I have the energy. But as you can see, like last week just did not happen either. I didn't even like put down my stickers. So that's my weekly. Again, it's a custom from Peanuts Planner Co. If it's not a mimic of 151, it's a mimic of 103. I think the weekly is 151 and I think the monthly is 103, but I will put it down in the description box. I love these weeklies and the monthlies. Actually, the monthly habit log is what I call it. I have it in this size, I have it in A6, and I have it in Franklin Covey Compact. Because those are the 3 sizes that I can see myself in rings. Like if I was going to do anything, I'd be in those 3 sizes because they're more square. And I can't see myself moving to a different weekly. Mostly because of this mechanic. So when I was creating these, one of the reasons I moved out of my standard TN in general was that I couldn't see my weekly task list as the same time as my daily task list. So when I was working with Vivara to create these, I wanted this task list on this side, on this fold out, so that I can see my habit log, my weekly task list with my daily habits and my daily all at the same time. It's why I moved to rings in the first place. And I love it. I love it so much. My planner is out like this, or if you watched my work video, out like this with my work weekly out here, looking like that. Like it's one of those two things. Like because sometimes I can like make a phone call or something that I need to do while I'm out, or if I need to think about like a post office drop off or something to pick up while I'm at work, like, hey, remember, like you have to go here after work. Like it's good for me, and I love it. So that's the reason I made them or asked them to be designed this way. I don't know of very many inserts that do this way, so if I ever switch sizes, I would have to have these inserts to switch sizes, and so I don't think I would do very much switching because I find them so essential to my system. Like if nothing else, I want these inserts, because I also made them the way that I did because if I wanted to, like I can make this my monthly planner, right? And take out my monthlies altogether. If I wanted to, I could make this like Hobonichi style dailies, have my plans, and then do my like daily here. And they're undated, and I don't think they're very structured, even though they are. Like I didn't put like lines in here. They're multi-purpose, I guess is my point. And it's very important to me that they are multi-purpose, but they also are so structured that I don't have to do the drawing out for myself every week, which is why I moved from standard TN, because it was so hard to create or to set up my week every week, and like it didn't get done, and then I fell behind. So I love these. I think they're so important to my system. So I have a month's worth of weeklies in here, and then I have my cleaning log. Nothing to see here. Daily, weekly, monthly cleaning list. And this is my tracker section. So you'll notice that I moved these 3 sections from the back part of my planner, mostly because they require daily logging or daily updating, kind of like my habit log and my habits and my routines, and it kind of felt natural to have them like really close by to do them all together. So that's why I moved them. So as far as habits or like trackers. So this is my tracker section. I have my cycle tracker. On the back is supposed to be step tracker. Mostly exercise, like did I exercise or did I not? I haven't been very good about exercising, and I haven't been very good about transferring from my A6. So that's that. This is my daily Bible reading tracker. I have a 365-day Bible reading plan, and so I just log what day we're on. There wasn't a leap day one, so. And sometimes like over the weekend we were really bad, so we were catching up, that kind of thing. This is my ASL log that I need to update. This is how many days I've been in Pocket. So today is day 39 in Pocket. My first day was February 26th. This is my spend log, like my spending log, personal spending. I don't know if I'm going to use this because I have added a few things into my finance section. This is supposed to be like my when did I last / quarterly or like every other month tasks that don't really make it onto a different routine thing but needs to be logged. This is supposed to be like a skin / hair care thing. I don't know. I didn't use it last month and I didn't set it up this month because I'm not sure how I want it to be. So this is just hanging out. I do have a mood log, and it's more how I'm feeling and what affected it, not how I'm feeling. So like this you can generally tell. Like this is flat out meltdown, and this is like super energetic. Like, oh goodness, this was a great day. And it's more like what affected my mood so that I can keep track of that, not how I was feeling. I don't think there's a right way versus a wrong way to use a mood log. I just wanted to let you know how I use it. And then this is my sleep log. I log when I do use melatonin. I don't like using it. As I said, it doesn't affect me well, but I do log when I use it. And then the time frame that I'm sleeping, and then I don't log my dream. I log how I woke up / how I felt like I slept. So I would say this is more notes than dream. And then this right here is like my goal for sleep. So my goal is just to be asleep from 10 to 6 every day, and then you can compare how I'm doing. Not great. This is supposed to be, and I was very good in A6, so I need to get back to it. I call it my socialization tracker. This is not original to me. I believe bytesizeplans, byte is BYTE, started this in their Pocket, and I copied. But I basically, so I think theirs was if you socialized or not, you got like a star. For me, it's what type of socialization are you doing? So like family, friends, is it a phone call, like virtual? Are you spending a lot of time messaging with your friends? Is it work? So I like, if I go to the office or to a site, I count that as socializing because I'm not in my home with just me and my husband. And because I want to say yes to things, I don't want to be like a shut-in, even though yes, I actually really do want to be. But I also kind of want to compare what kind of socializing and also how much in a week and how it's affecting me. So it's just another like log to have. But I was very bad about keeping up in March, and I need to catch up. I was very good in January and February in my A6, so I just need to get back into the habit of doing that. So that's my tracker section. My next section is my health section. Again, because I'm trying to log more, I wanted to put it up here. There is some personal stuff in here, so I'll just tell you. So this is like, am I sick slash, like with what? And I potentially want to put my husband here as well. I need to transfer some stuff for the first 2 months from A6. The next thing is just a notes page in case I need it. I have a headache log. Because they're putting me on new migraine meds, I just want to be really careful about logging my headache, what I did to prevent it, and the severity and how long it lasted. And then I do have like a doctor's visits insert and some notes from a recent doctor's appointment. I'm also about to add today a health log, like just like an expanded version of this, because this is Pocket and because it's so small. I just want like a health log. And I'm also about to add a different type of doctor's visit tracker as well. Yeah, so that's my health section. This is my finance section. Again, I can't share everything. This is a no spend challenge insert that I just started this month. So I really like this insert because it gives you the tracker, like if you did or didn't do, or did or didn't succeed. It tells you, it gives you space to write down like what things you ended up buying and how much it cost. And it also gives you a space for a goal, which I put as my reason. So why am I doing this? And it's good to remind myself. And it's also like here so I can see it. Like, why are you saving, Michaela? I did have a situation yesterday where it wasn't exactly like a failed day because I sold something of the same amount. So I did give myself like a little bit of a criteria, like, hey, it's failed because you purchased something, but also like quantity in equaled quantity out, so it's not technically failed. Like a red X is like you truly failed, and then a black X is it was a purchase and it was a personal purchase, but it was something that my husband and I had either A, talked about, or B, I had saved for it, or any combination thereof. And so it also doesn't necessarily count because it's I prepared for that purchase. And then I put a little star here because this was a quantity in, quantity out today, but it was also a prepared purchase. So instead of trying to write in two different pens, I just put this little star here because it was both. So that's that insert. After that, I have our finance overview. Finance overview. We haven't set it up for April, but I do one of these a month. It's kind of just like a high level overview of all the different parts of money. Then I have a wish list, a pay in for tracker, a spending tracker, a subscription list, a loan payment tracker, and a savings tracker. And that's my finance section. I believe it's smaller than my finance section in A6, but I don't remember. The next section is my daily section, which will look almost exactly like my dailies from A6. I have an extra sheet here. I think I want to put my like, why do I journal thing here. This is supposed to be my monthly review and like future month, like looking forward, but I just did not do it this month yet. So I think I'm gonna go back and do that, like reviewing March, preparing for April. And then I go straight into my dailies. So I cut down my Midori Hibino pages even further from A6 to Pocket, and they've been working really well. I don't have all of March in here anymore, but basically I used the top outer corners of A6. So my insert goes from 4 a.m. to 11:30, which is just enough. If I'm up doing something later than 11:30, like that's not good. That's not good. And because this is 2.5 millimeter grid, I find this plenty of enough space. Even with like the decorating that I did in March, I did a lot of like almost over decorating of my pages because I loved the kit that I was using. I loved the spring stickers that I had. So even if I do something like this, like that's enough journaling sometimes. And like sometimes I don't even journal, right? And then sometimes like yesterday I need the full space. But I don't need much more space than that because by that point, like I'm tired. So it's been really perfect. And this solves my issue of pocket from earlier of I do have a day on 2 pages. I have enough room to journal if I want to. My pages are still dated. And it's just all around very good. And it works. And I'm very excited. And I have a full month of dailies in here as well. And then I have my journal archive. I have to go back and fill this in. So again, I think this was inspired by Lindsey Scribbles. She logs what she journals about so that she can find it later. Like if she took a trip and journaled about it, it goes in here so that when she's looking for something, she can find it. And I have the full year in here. Another photo of my husband and I. And then I do have like this little journal section. Last month, this was for my devotion. I want to use this for devotion reflection questions again this month. I just have been really bad about my morning devotion, so I haven't started my new devotion. I have it. I have the book. I'm ready to do it. This week has been an off week for me. But that's what this section is here for. And then I just have like another pencil board, basically. I have some more gloomies from Petite Gloom. These ones are a special interest one and like a notebook one, and the importance of both. And then I have a self-care routine dashboard, and on the back I have this is a journaling card from Journaling Home. I believe it was one of her freebies. I don't remember. It's called Journaling Guide for a Hard Day. If I have the wherewithal, if I'm spiraling and I need to get myself out of it, and I recognize that I am spiraling and that I have the space to mentally get myself out of it, these are the prompts that I use to do that. I find this insert very, very helpful, and this goes around from planner to planner to planner with me. I've had it since my standard TN. And then I keep this verse right by it because I think it's very useful. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, because God is my rock. And then, so this all was the first side tab, my calendar, my schedule. This is my second side tab, which is lists and notes. I have my daily, weekly, and monthly planner routines on this. I don't know if this is up to date or not, but I just popped it back in here from when it was in my pocket from last time. This is from it was Hey Planner Girl. I believe she is Yarny Ball now. And it's a size conversion. So if you have a size and you want to size it to a different size, this is a freebie. I'm pretty sure she has these still, or remade them or something. I find this incredibly useful. And this is the planner math that I use if it's not on here as well. And I think I put this equation in the planner size planner video that I made, but I think I based it off of this. So like I have Yarny to thank for all of this. So yes, this is my planner routines dashboard, and on the other side I keep my weekly and monthly review questions, and also the reminder to myself that green is a neutral color, and if I'm feeling uninspired, what kind of themes I can put in my planner. This is my monthly planner setup checklist. I've actually done a lot more of this than this would insinuate. because I did it while we were on vacation over Easter. I set up cleaning, did mood log, set up my sleep tracker. I didn't set up my social media calendar or my finance overview because I need to do that with my husband. Stuff like that. Work weeklies I did print, and I still haven't printed my journaling prompts from Journaling Home. Those usually go right between, that's why I felt like something was missing. Those go right here in between, like this is the bookmark for what week I'm on. They go right here. And I looked at it and I was like, something is missing, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I need to print my journaling prompts. So I've broken this out by what part of the month it needs to happen, and also like, do I need to collect it or do I need to set it up? And I needed to make sure that I knew that it was the beginning or the end because I was getting confused. So yeah, this list is here. And I do like remind myself that, hey, it's subject to change. And then at the end, I do have a, did you sync with your husband? And the tasks to sync with my husband were here on my A6. They're going here in my pocket. And on my previous pocket monthlies, I had printed this out and then glued this on the back of January with my topics to sync planners with my husband, and I just need to go back and rewrite them. But that's where I keep them. I have a task reminders trigger list, as well as an organization system outline. I talked about this in my A6. Anne had she has a wonderful basis for what makes a planner successful for her, and I like reminding myself of this. So is it functional? Is it practical? Is it economical? And is it creative? And they're kind of like food for thought questions, and I love them, and they're hers. Pen and Plans. She's the best. I love her to death. Shopping list. This is my next action list, which needs to be set up. I have a someday I will find list because there were some things that I had lost, and I'm still looking. Volunteer hours. So I have to log hours that I volunteer for work. I don't have to volunteer for work, but I have to log my volunteer hours at work. Yeah, so I just keep this here because your girl cannot remember. Are you kidding? Gift ideas. Reading log. I need to transfer this from my A6. I have a new releases. So I know people who have new releases inserts, and that's great, but I also wanted to write down the date, and I thought, why not use something that I've already got? So what I'm going to do, and it's not just going to be books, it's everything. So for example, the first thing on my mind is the Fourth Wing third book that comes out in January. I would dot January, I'd write the date it comes out and then the title. And I do that with anything. And then I think I would just like cross it off when it is released. Books to read list. I need to transfer this from A6. It's ever growing. I have an add to planner list, and then I also have a backfill from A6 list. I am very slow and steady to do this because your girl does not have a lot of energy. On the back is an add to planner reference. I don't know if you can read that, but it does say reference. I don't have everything in here that I did in A6. I don't want to have everything in here that I did have in A6, but I do admit that there are some things that I kept in my A6 that were useful, like most used recipes and car maintenance information and stuff like that. So I am slowly trying to ease myself into having a separate home binder. I'm not saying that too loudly, because if I say that too loudly, myself will get scared. So when I notice that I need something, but I don't have it in here. I want to start. I haven't started because I don't want to scare myself off. I want to start logging it here. For example, car maintenance, like log, like when did we get the tires changed last? When was the oil changed last? That kind of thing. I don't know if I want that in this planner. I don't need that on a daily basis. And hopefully I won't need that out of the house. Usually, hopefully that's a planned thing that I can take out of my A6. So I'd put that here. And once I have a big enough list, theoretically, I can then make a reference planner in my A6. But again, I'm not saying that too loudly, because if I say it too loudly, I will jump back into A6, which is actually not what I want to do. So that's what that is. Next section, while still in the second tab, is my notes section. This is just a conglomeration of everything. I have my bullet journal key, which could go in my task or in my list section, but I also have my commonplace labels that are very inspired by Meg Rhiannon. I do have a consumption list, so I need to fill in for March and I need to transfer from January and February, but basically like what did I watch, what did I read, what did I listen to, what did I research, that kind of thing, and then like one stick, like a cover of either like a show that we watched or a book that I read that really like made the whole of the month. So for example, for March I'd probably put the Dune 2. I'm going to put the Dune 2 movie thing. Like I did read Serpent and Wings of Night, which like at the very end of March, which was also very good, but I think a lot of March and a lot of my creative thoughts were based around Dune 2, so I'd probably put Dune 2 and not Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I have all of those here, and then notes sheet, which I'm going to cover up the back of it. This is just like random scratch paper. And then this is what I would consider my commonplace section. I've been thinking about archiving for Pocket recently. I've been thinking about a custom from VDS recently. And then I've been thinking about some planner routine card changes, and that's what I've been doing today. And so it's still very like notes-esque, but I commonplaced a lot more in my A6. So that's probably something that I would add to my reference or my this doesn't belong in Pocket because you don't have enough ring space for it is like a commonplace section. I do really love being able to move around my pages for collecting, because then I can collect and keep as long as I want to and then release when I don't want to. So that's probably one of the things that I would move. But again, have this small section in here to do that here because I'm too scared to have too many books in my system. Do have a couple extra notes pages. These are all printed on Tomoe River paper to keep them thin. And then I do have some extra smaller ones. I use these for photos. I use these a lot in March for photo on one side and then like description of what it was on the other side. Yeah, I do use these a lot. And then the next section is the next tab, which is like the rest of my projects section. This is a clear pocket. I just got it off Amazon. I'll show you the other one that I have. One of the things that really bulked up my planner was keeping like ephemera from memories, because like the pockets that I had it in were so thick. So I decided to put in two of these like they're really thin plastic sheets, and I filled one already with photos, like a letter from my husband, a dollar bill from school that I found on the ground at school, and then a picture of my grandfather and I. These all were in my A6, and I just put them in a much thinner place in this planner. And I have a few other things that I want to transfer to here. I just haven't done it yet. So yes, this is the third divider. This is my work section. I have a very, I think, detailed video of how I use my work section. Please go see that. There is not confidential information, but there are, like, I write about tasks for work in here. And I don't really want to open this up. So in the work video, I create a mock-up with nothing important on it. And so please go see that, and I show you how I use it. The next section is my social media. Ooh, I don't know if that was a loud noise, but I like slammed my hand into the stand, so ouch. This is my social media section. I have a social media planner. I have a YouTube planner. And I only keep the number of inserts for YouTube that I plan on creating in a month. So I have ideas for like an archive video as well as this full flip through. So that's why I keep these here. I have my video list so that I don't forget it, and then how far I've gone through it, and I have just one extra notes sheet to have in here to keep this thin. And then lastly is my writing section, which I did have out because I just had a phone call with a professor. I slimmed this down a lot too. So this is supposed to be semester dates, which I need to transfer from A6, task breakdown for my projects, project timeline, and then notes pages. And I didn't know if I was going to have to take notes from my phone call with my professor, so that's why that was out. And then my last section is my reference section. Again, much smaller than it was. I do have this little pocket, then the divider. Perpetual calendar. I have medical information for my husband and I. I have our Bible reading tracker fold out. I have our grocery guide, which I haven't filled out yet, but I want to list out like what things we get from Costco, what things we get from Amazon, like subscriptions, that kind of thing, what things we get from the grocery store. I have a packing list. I have a passwords and a couple contacts sheets, and then I have my like most used sticky notes here. And that's everything that's in the rings. Back here, I don't have anything currently in this zipper pocket. I used to keep my tile from my husband in here, but right now this is so full that it doesn't fit with my planner closing. And then back here, I keep my stickers, so my commonplace stickers, as well as my dot stickers for my autism log and my socialization tracker. I have some writing prompts for creative writing. I have my blotting paper, and I have this sticker sheet from Paper Planner Bliss. It's matcha and it's green, and yes, I've used one sticker from it, but like, I'm kind of hoarding the rest of them. And that just goes right back here. And then back here in the big back pocket, I have some important information, as well as like, yeah, so just some important information that I want to keep on me at all times, and stuff like that. So yeah, that is my planner. I realized that I didn't tell you how I use my dailies, so let me just really quickly do that. I apologize. Today it wasn't fully set up, so let me just go back to... I can do this day, I guess. Yeah, that's probably the most normal day. So April 1st, Monday. At the beginning of the day, I write out my prayer topics like I told you. I also write out my schedule. So this light highlighter mark is like my work hours, and then I put my meetings, abbreviated always, in here, and then any other events that are happening I put in the schedule as well. And then at the end of the day, or as the day goes along, I'll like fill in like highlights as well. So for example, like I finished submitting my second packet for the semester on Monday around like 8 o'clock, 8:30, so I put that here. Tasks go under my prayer list, and I really didn't have anything else for that day except finishing that packet. It was horrendous. And then on this page, I will journal, or I'll decorate and collage, or I'll do absolutely anything that I want to. This page is my free space, which I didn't have in Pocket before, and I wanted a place to either do something or do nothing. And yeah, I think it's a fine use of space because I have the potential to use this. And yeah, that's my planner. I'm sorry for taking you on such a long ride, but I wanted to be thorough. And as you can see, if you've watched my other videos, it's very similar to how I used my A6. It's just a little bit more streamlined and hopefully a little bit even more functional than it was in A6, and a little bit less energy because I've got less space to fill. And that's another big reason that I switched from A6, is that I'm tired a lot of the time. I have less energy to do things than my A6 requires of me, and most of my inserts are the same as they were in A6. I just have less space to fill, or I feel like I have less space to fill, so it's more manageable. And it fits in my purse, which I will do a what's in my bag video soon. I don't know if it's pretty much the same things as what was before, but I do have a new purse. For those of you that don't follow my Instagram. So yeah, I think I got it around Thanksgiving-ish, and it's my favorite. I love it to death. Yeah, that's my planner, and I'm loving it, and it's been great, and I'm having a great time. And I hope to continue making videos, probably a weekly specific video, maybe in real time over the course of a week, of what it looks like to be in it with a voiceover, the way that I did with my dailies. And hopefully a monthly one too, because I know that I don't really talk about my monthly review quite at all, or what that looks like to reset my planner for a month. So those are in the works, as well as what do I do to archive. It's very complicated. I've got multiple places for archiving, but it suits me. So those are coming. If you have anything else specifically that you want to see, like specific sections and how I use those specific sections, I will do a more detailed video of sections as well. Yeah, I just take a lot of time to do things because sometimes it takes me an hour and 20 minutes to say what I want to say. So I apologize for that, but also I don't, because I know some of you guys love it. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.